Some other guy went down and told all his Panamanian friends and family around the canal, hey, you guys don't want to be around here tonight. Something's going to happen, right? So, okay, that just alerted the enemy that something's going to happen tonight, right? At the end of the day, nobody can tell you when to shoot or when not to shoot. This is why they're looking for the thinker who's a shooter. You've got to make a judgment call. Is this worth the shot? Now here's my example. Okay, so Modelo Prison, raid on Modelo Prison. This is actually on Discovery Channel, I think on History Channel. They've declassified it. So that was a rescue of Kurt Muse out of Modelo Prison, 1989 in Panama. And
you were involved?
I was a breacher on it. I'm the guy that actually blew the doors in on the annex on top of the prison and went down to get him out. So as we were coming in, if you can just imagine, we had a hit time of midnight on the December 20th. And about 7 hours out, we got intelligence that we had been compromised. And again, what they say, loose lips sink ships. Mm-hmm. So a couple guys, that live there, called home to mommy and daddy, said, Mommy, Daddy, something bad's going to happen tonight. If I don't ever see you again, I love you. And then some other guy went down and told all his Panamanian friends and family around the canal, hey, you guys don't want to be around here tonight. Something's going to happen, right? So, okay, that just alerted the enemy that something's going to happen tonight, right? And so we knew we were compromised because our snipers were already deployed. They're in the wood line, the jungles, and they're watching. And they're like, oh, all of a sudden, Modelo Prison is being reinforced with Panamanian Defense Forces, Dignitary Battalion, militia. They're literally setting up 50 caliber machine guns on all the corners. They're reinforcing the commandancy, the headquarters across the street, Noriega's military headquarters. There's a lot of activity, and that activity started to draw in civilians because they wanted to come down, like they were literally coming in with lawn chairs and stuff, waiting for the Mardi Gras parade or something, the Rose Bowl parade. Like what? And they're sitting on the sidewalks drinking and playing music, and suddenly you've got thousands of people around the target, right? And the target's being hardened. And we got to go get in there and get them, right? Because the reason we had to go is because, the 82nd Airborne Division and Ranger Battalion are in flight already on the way, right? So there's a big aerial signature in the sky.
Timing.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're on the way. We can't turn them around because now the mission will be compromised, and it's a game changer. So we've got to go. And what ended up happening was all we could do is slide the hit time, H hour, to 20 minutes to the right, 0020 hours. And we went in, and I remember I was on a little bird, it's a little MH6. You've probably seen the pictures of the small helicopter, like a flying egg. It's got the little pods on the outside, two guys sitting on the outside.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of it in the corner of the screen.
Yeah.
So you'll pull it up.
And so I'm on the first bird. There's four of us going to come in, and we're going to land on the roof. And then I'm going to get off with my breaching charges. My job was to run over to an annex, which is about 10 by 10 square. I had a door on the top, a steel door. According to CIA sources, it was a solid steel door. So I built the explosive charges to, breach that door. And so I run up to the door. Well, let me back up. So as we're landing, okay, because of the weight of the operators and the equipment we're taking in, which wasn't a lot, by the way, the initial helicopters, the original MH6s, the engines were the same engines they used for irrigation machines, like in farmer fields, right? It's a motor that just sprays, and that's what's holding us up in the air. I'm like, holy shit, they put propellers on it, we're flying this thing. I didn't know that, right? And I got a briefing from the pilots on that. And so we were actually maxed out with 4 operators, all our body armor, weapons and stuff like that. They're like, we got to chop weight so this thing stays aloft. And we were literally stripping avionics out of the helicopter. Okay, you don't need that. You don't need this. Get that out, get that out, get that out. And in fact, 2 of the helicopters of the 4, like, hey, you know what? We don't need 2 pilots. You're out of here. We had 2 helicopters with 1 pilot and 2 with 2 pilots. All of the operators, we literally didn't even bring any water in. We just tried to trim as much weight as we could so we could land these helicopters. And it still wasn't, we still weren't able to just land them. We had to actually sink the helicopters in very slowly onto the roof. So as we're approaching, and we're literally sinking the helicopter on the 4th story of this prison, I remember, at this point, all hell has broken loose. There's gunfire everywhere. I mean, people are dying. It's like complete chaos. And I noticed as we're coming down, I saw a group of about 4 women and running out in the street, a couple of them holding babies. And in the middle of the 4 women was a man. And he was part of the what they call the dignitary battalion. He was a militiaman, right? And so I can remember him very vividly. He was wearing blue jeans, a white guayabera, brown type of hiking boots. He had an AK-40S short AK-47. I still remember he was probably about 5'8", 190 pounds. And you know how can I remember all the details? Because when something's very emotional, you tend to remember it much longer, all the details, right? And so this is a pretty emotional period right now. People are dying and shit's happening. And so as they're running out in the center of the street, I think probably a distance from my barrel to his noggin was about maybe 30 yards. And he had his AK-47 up, and he was using the women and kids as he was backing up as a shield. And he hadn't leveled the weapon at me yet in my helicopter because he was still kind of moving. And as they were crossing the street, there was a cemetery. And the cemetery had like a 4-foot wall, but the entranceway was like an arch that you could walk through. And they were all kind of moving to that together in a cluster. And I already had them in my sights. I had an 8.2000. I had the dot on his forehead. I could have took the shot, but I didn't take the shot. And the reason I didn't take the shot because I was able to, with all the excitement, I was still able to discern. Listen, if you take that shot, that round will go through his melon and it will probably hit the woman and child behind him. Okay. Oh. And so, and I said, he's not an immediate threat. Although the weapon's up, it's not shouldered, it's not leveled. He's not taking aim yet. He's still moving. I said, I still have time.
You're able to make that whole calculation.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what you're trained to do, right? That's why you're selected. So.
And how far away were you again?
Maybe 30 yards max.
But that's kind of, and you were able to tell. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm at a defilade position, shooting down at him as the helicopter's sinking. I hadn't shot yet, right? Yeah. I mean, not him yet, and so.
But that's how it's gonna. You're basically, it's like a drive-by.
Yeah, and plunging fire going straight down. So, but something told me, man, just wait. He's not going to shoot yet. But when they go through that arch, somehow I knew. I don't know how I knew, but somehow I knew that the women with the babies would all button hook to the left and he would button hook to the right and he would come over that wall. And damned if he didn't. That's exactly what happened. He came over the wall. Now he brought the weapon up and leveled it and, I was waiting for him. So, I sent him, a hello and a goodbye. So, and then the helicopter landed.
I'll show you what hell looks like, boy.
But, where I was going with all that was you have to be able to make those critical decisions under pressure, under stress, and you got to make good decisions, right? Because you have to live with them, right? If I took that shot and let's say the helicopter buckled and I hit, any number of those women or kids, I got to live with that, and you have to ask yourself, was it worth taking that shot at that moment in time? And sometimes the answer is yes, because if I don't take that shot and he shoots my helicopter down, guess what? You may have 4 or 5 fathers on this aircraft whose kids need them, right? And boom, so, it's, you got to weigh all that out. That's a tough decision to make,
my God,
and there's no right answer for it other than, the man on the ground, you got to make that. And this is why we go through this very intense training, to make sure that we can make those, those high pressure decisions, especially when, the fight or flight reflex is setting in and you got tunnel vision, you loss of depth perception, tachycardia, and all these things are kicking in. You've got to be able to work through all of that and still make a good shot under pressure and still keep a circle of awareness about you and know what's going on. I still have to be aware that, hey, I'm landing on a roof and there might be a dude down there getting ready to shoot me in the face when I get off the helicopter, right? So there's a lot of the process at one time. And this is why, again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. They picked the right man, not the best man. And this is why it's one of the most difficult selection courses in the world. It ain't all about being physical. It's very physical. But the whole idea is to break you down physically. No matter how physical you are, they're going to break you down. They want to see how this functions under pressure.